I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of not the performance in the way I boxed and stuff. There was a lot of mistakes made, but I'm proud of the heart I showed, the respect I gave the belt. The British belt brings out a lot in people. And there was a lot of massive fights for that belt before me.
Definitely do it tonight, that's for sure. So let Daniel go away and enjoy himself. And as I said, there's a rematch clause in the contract.
Looking forward to the rematch?
Yeah, well, if it happens, yeah. Bring it on.
Fabio Wardley shocks the boxing world by hunting Daniel Dubois for a brutal rematch after the crushing loss, refusing to let the rivalry die as he demands one more dangerous collision with Dubois, convinced the first war left too many unanswered questions and controversial moments that still haunt fans, fighters, and critics before they finally settle everything with another explosive battle inside the ring very soon. I'm not running away from it, ever.
And just running away from it, so we can run it back.
David Adel finally revealed the hidden rematch clause is already locked in and made it absolutely clear he wants the war to happen again, warning that the fierce rivalry between Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley is far from finished and still carrying unfinished tension. He explained the second collision could realistically explode before the end of the year once Wardley fully recovers, especially after the brutal damage suffered to his nose, creating the perfect setup for a far more dangerous, emotional, and decisive showdown that could change everything forever.
Do you have any interest in seeing that running back?
I want to see it. Run it back. Why not? End of the year, they're going to obviously wait for Wardley's nose to heal up. But yeah, run it back. See what's...
Frank Warren admitted the situation remains dangerously unpredictable, confirming a rematch clause does exist while refusing to promise the return fight will happen immediately. He revealed everything now depends on how the next chaotic months unfold across the heavyweight division, where several massive fights could suddenly change the entire direction of what comes next for Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley, leaving their growing rivalry hanging in suspense as tension quietly builds behind the scenes for another possible explosive collision inside the ring.
Well, there is a rematch clause, so we'll see what happens.
If they decide to pass it for now.
We'll see what pans out in the next few months with all these various heavyweight fights that are happening. And that'll determine...
Don Charles compared the tense situation to Anthony Joshua's old rematch clause, explaining that the final decision ultimately rests with the fighters and their teams on whether they choose to trigger it. He warned everyone against rushing toward conclusions too quickly, insisting patience is critical while Daniel Dubois takes time to recover and fully process the victory, especially after suffering a painful stoppage defeat not long ago before suddenly returning with a performance so relentless, resilient, and impressive that it completely shifted the mood surrounding his future.
Anthony Joshua had a rematch clause when he fought Daniel. That's up to them. If they want to exercise it, like I said, it's too premature. Let's go and digest this win. Let Daniel go and have some rest. Remember, that's him coming off the back of a loss, a stoppage loss. And to pull out that sort of performance...
Buddy McGirt called it an absolute war, saying the shocking early knockdown changed the entire fight and pushed Wardley into desperately hunting one massive right hand instead of sticking to smart boxing. He praised the fearless heart both fighters showed under pressure, describing Wardley as a warrior with a champion spirit, while insisting the chaos, emotion, and brutal intensity of the battle made it impossible to ignore the demand for another explosive rematch between them.
Hell of a fight. I think the worst thing that happened was that knockdown in the first round. After that, Wardley was just looking for that right hand. No jabs, no defense, no left hook. Sorry, meat and chicken. You know what I mean? But it was a hell of a fight. He showed the heart of a champion, and I think there should be a...
Derek Chisora unleashed a ruthless verdict on Fabio Wardley, claiming he looked completely unprepared and shockingly abandoned the basic fundamentals of boxing during the fight. He blasted the missing jab, poor movement, and lack of discipline, arguing Wardley became obsessed with landing dangerous power shots instead of fighting with proper structure and control. According to Chisora, the performance looked nothing like the fighter fans and insiders had previously watched dominate in the gym, making the entire display feel strangely unfamiliar and deeply disappointing.
Fabio was not ready for boxing. You don't jab, nothing, looking for power shots. It's like he didn't train. He was busy commentating. Little bastard. He was supposed to fucking train in the gym. Dude, how many jabs did Fabio chuck? Less jabs. He didn't chuck no jabs. He didn't do anything.
Fraser Clark described Daniel Dubois as a fearless warrior, admitting that while the fight was far from the cleanest technical heavyweight display, it delivered non-stop violence, chaos, and unforgettable entertainment from start to finish. He pointed to the brutal blood-and-guts nature of the battle and praised Dubois for responding intelligently after the knockdown, showing sharper adjustments, greater composure, and visible growth under pressure as he continues transforming into a far more dangerous and complete force within the heavyweight division.
Said he's going to come out faster, yeah, but Daniel recovered well. He's learned from his knockdowns and stuff before. He's learned a lot, you know what I mean? So
Dominic Ingle called it one of the greatest fights he had ever witnessed, praising Fabio Wardley for his incredible toughness and stubborn refusal to surrender despite taking terrifying punishment throughout the battle. He also gave Daniel Dubois major credit for staying calm under pressure, following his game plan, and making smart adjustments as exhaustion slowly crept into the fight. Ingle highlighted the relentless back-and-forth exchanges and wild momentum swings, describing the contest as a brutal heavyweight classic that kept everyone on edge from beginning to end.
It's one of the best fights I've ever seen. One of the best fights. Fair play to Fabio Wardley. What a hard man he is. He didn't want to quit. His corner didn't pull him out. And Daniel Dubois kept his composure. He kept his composure, stuck to the plan. He started to get a bit tired himself. He realised that Wardley has still got something in the tank. He kept pulling it out of the bag. He looked dead on his feet.
Daniel Dubois admitted the terrifying moment inside the ring became a brutal wake-up call, forcing him to stay composed under pressure and survive through complete chaos when the fight threatened to spiral away from him. He explained that every true warrior eventually gets dragged into dark places once things turn dangerous, and the only way forward is to dig deeper than ever before and rise above the adversity, proving mental toughness, resilience, and heart during a savage heavyweight battle that tested everything inside him.
That slap just to wake up, stay in reality, it's not slip, I got to dig deep. And as a warrior, you have to dig deep because got to go to that dark place and come out.
David Adeli revealed Dubois never slipped back into old demons after the knockdown, instead locking into eerie composure as the fight shifted. The jab returned like a hidden weapon, snapping in repeatedly, breaking Wardley's rhythm in real time. That control slowly fed Dubois' belief, allowing him to dismantle Wardley round by round.
For old demons when he got dropped, but I think he started to think old demons when he started to think his things weren't working. But you know what was giving Daniel confidence? He kept landing a jab. Every time Wardley threw a right hand, Dubois would stick a jab and it would touch his target. That day was giving Dubois hope that, okay, then I can stand in front of my target and I can land with a jab. And he knew he was softening up Wardley with a jab.
David Hay described the contest as one of the most gripping heavyweight wars he has ever witnessed, pointing to the relentless back-and-forth violence that kept the entire arena and viewers frozen in tension from the opening bell to the final moments. He praised the sheer bravery, raw heart, and unbreakable toughness displayed by both Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley, insisting it delivered exactly the kind of explosive chaos fans expect at elite heavyweight level. Hay went further, saying the drama was so intense and unpredictable that it could be re-watched endlessly, cementing it as a true modern heavyweight classic carved out of pressure, pain, and constant momentum swings.
I've never seen a heavyweight fight that captivating, that entertaining, round after round, backwards and forwards. The heart on these guys, the balls, the bravery. That's what you want to pay. That's what you want to. We hope every time we tune in for a heavyweight championship, you're getting that type of energy. They both gave everything they had. I could watch that 10 times.
Derek Chisora voiced serious concern over the sheer brutality of the contest, insisting the fight should have been halted in the 10th round as Fabio Wardley absorbed alarming punishment and sustained heavy bleeding. He stressed how severe the damage had become at that stage, arguing that fighter safety needed to override everything else in the moment. While the bout was widely celebrated for its heart, chaos, and relentless intensity, Chisora's remarks underline how close it came to crossing a dangerous line between a thrilling heavyweight war and a situation that could have turned far more damaging inside the ring.
The fight was supposed to stop in round 10 because his nose was bleeding so badly.
What's next for them? I'm hearing a rematch calls. If not, who do you want to see him fight?
Nobody wants to see the rematch.
Frank Warren described the fight as even darker than expected, saying it unfolded into a brutal spectacle soaked in drama, shifting momentum, and non-stop punishment. He recalled warning fans not to blink, knowing the explosive matchup would spiral beyond control and exceed every expectation. Warren praised both men for resilience, especially Daniel Dubois for rising from the canvas and fighting back under mounting pressure. He called it a privilege to witness, emphasizing emotional and physical toll both fighters endured in an unforgettable heavyweight showdown under lights forever changed.
I said it, don't blink, it's going to be the most amazing few rounds. It was much better than that. It was just a phenomenal fight, phenomenal to watch, to witness and see these two guys, what they did, bearing their soul and Daniel getting off the floor and the canvas and coming back how he did. And it swung both ways to fight, and it was just
Don Charles delivered a chilling statement about Daniel Dubois, claiming nobody can question his heart or mentality again after this violent performance. He brushed aside all doubts and acquitting talk, insisting Dubois has now proven himself at the highest level as a two-time heavyweight champion under his control. Charles insisted this is only the beginning, hinting there is still more to come as Dubois continues to grow, evolve, and establish himself as a dangerous force in the heavyweight division.
Nobody could ever question this young man again. Yeah? All that quitting nonsense, nobody will ever question him again.
Two-time heavyweight champion of the world under you.
It sounds good, doesn't it?
It does.
There's more to come. There's more to come. We were in there with a very dangerous fighter in the name of Fabio Wardley. He should be proud of himself.
Daniel Dubois reflected on the fight, calling his opponent a true warrior while admitting he had to battle through nerves and early chaos before finally settling into control. He revealed that coming off a loss only intensified the pressure, but he managed to pull himself back together and secure victory through raw resilience and sheer mentality. Dubois also pointed to the moment in the corner where he needed a sharp slap to shock him back into focus, explaining it snapped him awake, kept him grounded, and forced him to dig into that dark place every fighter must face.
What a warrior he is, and came through that test, you know, coming off the back of a loss. I was a bit nervy to start off with and a bit all over the place, but I pulled it together and got the victory.
Ajay Kabil described the fight as brutally tough for both men, calling it a chaotic, dramatic heavyweight war that constantly swung like a pendulum from round to round. He pointed out how both fighters were dropped, forced to recover, and pushed back into survival mode, creating a messy but electrifying spectacle for the fans. Kabil admitted he was genuinely shocked by the level of punishment and shifting momentum, saying it was almost unreal how both men kept rising again after being badly hurt. Overall, he praised it as a savage yet brilliant contest that delivered non-stop intensity, unexpected twists, and unforgettable drama from start to finish.
This fight was very hard for two guys, you know, but I think for the crowd was also a nice fight. Unbelievable. I like it.
Was you surprised about the heart that Daniel showed?
Yes, 100% I was surprised. But, you know, Daniel gave a good performance. You know, he was the first set, and the 4 round, I don't know. He was one down.
Second, sorry?
In the second round, he was down, and in the first round, he was down. And
first round and second round, yeah.
Crazy. But he come back, you know.
Fraser Clark described Daniel Dubois as an absolute warrior, saying the fight may not have been the most technical heavyweight display, but it still erupted into pure violence, chaos, and entertainment from start to finish. He highlighted how the contest gave fans exactly what they wanted, a true blood and guts battle with non-stop intensity that never really faded. Clark praised both fighters for their toughness and spirit, noting the atmosphere and energy around the fight felt exceptional, with supporters fully invested in every moment of this brutal heavyweight showdown.